Happy Christmas, everyone. I have to say that because sometimes one time I forgot to say it. I did everything else at Mass because I didn't say Happy Christmas. So Happy Christmas, everyone. Joyeux Noel, Bon Natale, Feliz Navidad, Selamat Hari Natal, and to you all. Welcome to everyone who has come to St Mary's Cathedral this night. Welcome to the locals, welcome to visitors, to our city, and those who just have an overnight stop. Welcome. Welcome to those of you who regularly come to Mass and those who are on the edges of faith. Welcome home. At this night, this sacred time, when the city grows quiet and night deepens, a simple but profound question then presses upon our hearts. And it might be this: why are you here? Why are we here tonight as families, as friends, as seekers, or as pilgrims? The answer is proclaimed to us in the ancient words of the prophet Isaiah, words that have echoed through the centuries and still ring with undiminished power. For there is a child born for us, a son given to us. Dominion is laid upon his shoulders. We are here because a child has been born for us. A child who would grow to be a man who at his Last Supper would say, "This is my body given for you." As we turn our gaze towards the Christmas crib, we see more than a tender scene. We behold the answer to the ancient longings of ancient Israel and the deepest longings of every human heart that has ever loved, ever hoped, ever suffered or waited in the dark. In the fragile child of the manger lies God's reply to human fear. In the breath of the infant, we see heaven's response to our questions. In that manger lies the hope of the world. Christmas proclaims something astonishing. The eternal God is not distant. The Creator God does not offer an automated response. The Creator God does not say, "Your call is important to us. Please hold the line." The Holy One does not stand apart from our questions or our pain. Everyone in the cathedral this night, please note, God comes to us with a human face, poor, vulnerable, homeless, born not into comfort, but into necessity, laid not in a palace, but in a borrowed shelter. The stark simplicity of Bethlehem cuts through all our tinsel and glitter. It reminds us that what dazzles fades quickly, but what is born from love endures forever. Here is a peace that does not depend upon circumstances. Here is a joy that survives sorrow. Here is a hope that no darkness can extinguish. St. Paul tells us in the second reading of this night that the grace of God has appeared, bringing salvation for the whole human race. not for a few, not for the deserving, but for all. Those on this side can see the crib, or you can see the infant behind me, but look in your mind's eye at the crib and perhaps visit the crib after Mass. Look with your mind's eye at the crib. See Mary, young, faithful, courageous. Her Son would one day speak from the cross and entrust her to the whole human family. Thus, tonight, she is your mother and mine. In a world fractured by race, borders, suspicion, and fear, the crib speaks a quiet but radical truth. Beyond colour, culture, and nation, we are brothers and sisters. We are children of the one Father, and Mary is our mother. In that sense, tonight, we are all citizens of Bethlehem. Listen closely. The infant Jesus would have been comforted by the sound of his mother's voice. And from that stable, Mary still invites us to listen, to ponder, to trust, to walk the path of faith with courage and tenderness. And then in that crib there is also Joseph. He stands strong and silent, not weak, not passive. He walked the distance from Nazareth to Bethlehem. He faced uncertainty, danger, and responsibility. His yes to God was courageous. Joseph teaches us that faith is not only spoken, it is lived. Faith steps forward when the way is unclear. It protects what is fragile. It trusts when answers are not yet visible. Tonight, the simplicity of the Bethlehem crib calls to us. It calls us to think differently, to live more gently, to love more courageously. It calls us to be like Joseph, willing to step beyond comfort, to be like Mary, pondering God's work in our own lives, and to be like Jesus, responding to suffering not with fear, but with love. The Gospel tells us that Mary and Joseph trusted the word spoken to them by God, and they were blessed. Friends, one and all, we are called to that same trust. So let me return to the opening question. Why are you here? Not just why are we here, but make it personal. Why am I here? And the answer becomes wonderfully personal. Because if we think of that first reading in the singular, we will say and answer, because a son is born for me, a child is given to me, and his dominion must reach into my heart, bringing peace and shaping me into an instrument of peace. So for each of you to say, there is a son born for me, and in his birth, grace is revealed. In his vulnerability, my salvation becomes possible. So tonight, ask this newborn King for the simplicity of the shepherds, the humility and courage of Joseph, and the faith-filled gaze of Mary. May the star of Bethlehem light our pathways this night and lead us to adore him.